And welcome back to Pony Stadium on the campus of Stillwater Area High School. Another section semifinal awaits us, this time for the girls. Stillwater and Roseville, two Suburban East teams who met in the regular season with the Ponies winning 18-7. Stillwater girls having a solid season. They are 11-3, including their section quarterfinal win over Irondale. That one won convincingly by the Ponies. 18-3 was the final in that one. And for the Roseville Raiders, they're coming off a 10-6 victory over White Bear Lake to reach this point in the section playoffs. Stillwater, they have won Section 4, the girls have, for 8 consecutive years. A win over Roseville will get them one step closer to winning a 9th, and they would play the winner of Matamidi and Hill Murray. If they do advance, that game will be held on Wednesday, and we don't have to worry about a doubleheader, at least on the Valley Access Channel side, but if the girls do advance, we'll have live coverage of the section final on the airwaves of VAC TV. So we'll see what happens here. The boys upset in a big way to Matamidi, 13-11. Maybe that's not a result folks were expecting, but that's how the game goes. So, in that first meeting between the two, and this was a trend throughout the season, Stillwater powered by Annie Maguire and Meredith Perry. Annie Maguire had 7 goals. Meredith Perry had 6 in that 18-7 win over Roseville. And for the Raiders, Lauren Distad held to just 2 goals. That is going to be the key matchup between these two teams. For the Ponies, you've got a lot of weapons, although the offense is centered on Meredith Perry and Annie Maguire. Perry with 49 goals, Annie Maguire with 40 entering the regular season. Or at the end of the regular season, I should say. And for Meredith Perry, we've talked about her performance all season. She had a sock trick against Minnehaha, a sock trick against Roseville, had 3 straight games with 4 goals each. To start the season, we'll talk more about it as the evening moves along. Roseville wins the face-off. They're wearing their black and silver. Stillwater wearing the white and red. And then the difference between the boys and the girls play halves, and they use running time until you get to the final few minutes. And they also use a separate circle in the face-off area. The boys, they use the black one. The girls use the red. So the girls have to travel a longer distance. But Stillwater forcing the turnover. And we'll get our first look on the offensive side. There's Annie Maguire, number 5. Annie, the sophomore, finds Perry, and here come the Ponies. Clock does stop, of course, for a goal score.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 8.
Meredith Perry, as we had said, quite the season. She had a hat trick in 5 of her 6 games. And 9 overall, 9 in 14 games. On Roseville's end, as we said, Lauren Distad is the player to watch. She ended the regular season tied for 4th in the state in goals with 60. Distad has earned a hat trick in every game except Stillwater. So Lauren Distad's a name you're going to hear a lot about, number 23. And if Stillwater wants to beat Roseville like they did the last time out, that's what it will come down to. There's Lauren Distad shaking some defenders, and that will be a foul. It's in that red penalty area. So that's going to give Distad an effective penalty shot here. That's something you want to do for a player that had 13 hat tricks, including the section quarterfinal win over White Bear Lake. And Distad's shot goes off the mark. It will stay with Roseville, but the Ponies can exhale momentarily. Lenny Charlson, the goalie for the Ponies, as she has held that mark all season long. And for the Raiders, Eden Dixon, the freshman. Distad. Nothing doing there. Another foul, though. That will keep the ball in Roseville's end. Libby Prenslow. Gets the ball moving. No matter what, this is the last time we will cover a game at Stillwater for the 2018-19 school year. In fact, both Roseville and Stillwater had their graduations this past weekend. And Stillwater swoops in for the interception. There's Tara Noggle, one of the seniors who picked up her diploma on Saturday. She hooks up with Meredith Perry, and Eden Dixon gets it in there. Stillwater tries to roll it into the net, but Eden Dixon holds firm. A big save by the freshman goalie. And Roseville, much like Matamidi, although they created some breaks with their face-off mastery in the boys' side, Roseville, they're going to need a few breaks to go their way. And a save by Eden Dixon, a couple of them, could go a long way. The Ponies still have a 1-0 lead. Here's Lauren Ermine. And Distad will lose the ball. Lenny Charlson comes up with a stop. So the Ponies make their way downfield. They tried the centering pass to Grace Little, number 15. Ponies do recover. As we noted, Perry and Maguire on the offensive side for the Ponies. They often set each other up. Here's Lilla through the hole. Another save by Dixon. Dixon looking for a passing target, and she cannot seem to find one. She's still looking. Dixon's been stuck at the net. She's held onto the ball for what seems like a minute, if not more. I haven't seen this before. Dixon still hanging onto the ball. And then we have a foul away from it. So Dixon can hang on to it while she's looking for a passing target. Stillwater's coverage all over Roseville options here. So Dixon biding her time as the clock continues to tick away with 18:15 to go. Ponies have the 1-0 lead. Dixon, I've heard of cautious, but she's taking it to a whole new level here. And she is cautious with a capital C. And she'll trot her way downfield. She still can't find anyone open. Dixon finally lobs it. And Roseville is going to win the scrum. Ivy Benner finally picks it up. Sammy Chang trying to chase her down. Instead, Benner finds number 5, and Lauren Ermine goes too high, goes over the crossbar. And then that shot goes behind the net, but that's not how you score. Well, that was a strange sequence. Roseville hit with a charging call. And the Ponies will scamper downfield. Look who's got the ball. It's Annie. Ooh, tries a little off-speed sidearm. Dixon read it, and Dixon will not take a minute plus this time to get rid of the ball. She finds a target in Sarah Bergman, who goes to Ivy Benner. Ivy to Ermine. Roseville's limited Stillwater's offensive chances in the early minutes of the first half, but they got to find a way to develop some sort of rhythm, some sort of flow on the offensive side. And they're looking to do just that through traffic. Kaya Vijams, the sophomore. No fear whatsoever. It's not an easy assignment to go right through the heart of Stillwater's defense. That is not for the faint of heart. Alex and I for sure would get humiliated if we attempted that. And he's in agreement.
Scoring for Roseville, number 25, Kaya Viams.
Kaya Viams, in the regular season, had just 7 goals and 3 assists. With Roseville, the offense, the focal point of it is Lauren Distad with 60 goals, and she also led the team in assists. So this team runs through Lauren. That much is certain. Lauren Distad, just a sophomore, so you're going to hear a lot about her in the next couple of years. And for Stillwater, we've covered a few of the girls' games, and Annie Maguire and Meredith Perry had strong performances all season. Ponies win the face-off, and speaking of, here's Meredith Perry, weaves her way through traffic, shot deflected, and that will be a foul. And that foul assessed to the Ponies. Then Roseville coughs it up. Tara Noggle has it. We're tied at 1 with 15:07 left in the first half. Noggle with a little stutter step. And she converts the fadeaway. So Tara Noggle gets on the board at the 10:25 mark. If you're keeping time officially, Tara Noggle,
number 20, Tara Noggle.
had 22 goals in the regular season. Did not tally one while the stats were not entered from the Irondale game, at least not properly. But Tara Noggle in the regular season, 3 hat tricks. Forest Lake, a game we had on Valley Access channels, Woodbury, and Apple Valley. Face-off violation on Grace Lilla. So that'll be Roseville ball. And we mentioned both schools having their graduations over the weekend. Roseville at Aldrich and Stillwater at Roy Wilkins. And speaking of fadeaways, Lauren Ermine. She whiffed a point-blank shot earlier in the half. She converts that one with a defender in her face to tie it up again. And just like Kaya Viams, Lauren Ermine, not known as a prolific scorer, just 7 goals in the regular season. But in the playoffs, you got to step up, and Roseville hanging around. That's what you want if you're the underdog, as Roseville is. Grace Lilla wins the faceoff, looks for a strike of her own, and Dixon deflects it away. Kaya Viams had 1 goal in the win over White Bear Lake. Ermine did not score. She had a couple of shots on goals, so Ermine picking up her 8th goal of the year. And Viams with her 9th, as you know. Postseason goals go into the overall tally. Still Ponies ball. There's Perry. Backpedaled, and Stillwater will run another reset here. Centering pass to Noggle, and Noggle cashes in. Maguire, I believe, got the assist there, and that would be her 2nd, so Noggle picks up her 2nd goal of the game. It was Perry who got the assist. It's tough to tell 5 and 8 from up here, way up in the press box. Wouldn't you say, Alex?
Yeah, way too hard.
Way too hard to tell 5 from 8. That's why we've got spotters over there. Noggle scores, Perry with the assist. And then this battle of the 1 seed and the 4 seed. Stillwater takes a 3-2 lead.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 20, Tara Noggle, with the assist to number 5, Annie Maguire.
Roseville winning the faceoff there, and Tara Noggle showcasing her offensive capabilities in the early going. As we said, this team usually runs through Perry and Maguire as far as scoring is concerned, but Noggle can knock in a few as well. Sammy Chang tried to get the interception, and she won't get it, but she does force the turnover. Now, Sammy Chang was the victim of an unfortunate miscue in the loss to Minnehaha, where she helped force a similar turnover, but then ran out of bounds, coughed the ball on the defensive side of the field. Minnehaha was able to cash in that 7th grader Ella Berg and the freshman Claire Nelson, the Red Hawks. They'll be a team to watch in the sport of girls lacrosse over the next few years. So there was a foul on Roseville. As you know, penalties are less common. They'll issue yellow cards in the girls' version of the sport. In the boys, you'll see more traditional penalties assessed. Sloppy pass, but no one from Roseville nearby, so it's of no consequence. Here's Perry off the feed from Maguire. And Meredith Perry takes a little shovel pass from Annie Maguire, goes full speed ahead, and Stillwater's up 4-2. The flip is what they call it. From those who are versed in lacrosse terminology more than I am, and there are a lot of people who would fit into that category. But I can tell you this, Meredith Perry, with her second goal of the game, as we said, she can score in bunches, as we saw in the game with Minnehaha when she put up 6 goals. Annie Maguire put up 5. And in the game with Roseville, it was Maguire with 7, Perry with 6. What, someone brought food? I want cookies. Roseville wins the faceoff after a short scrum. And then Stillwater gets the turnover, draws the foul on Roseville, so they'll keep on trucking. That's number 7, Lauren Enan, one of the hockey crossovers. Perry, that's Maguire, I should say, tries the spin move. Eden Dixon read it all the way. Dixon officially had 4 saves in the first meeting between these two teams. And Charleston had 5. And once more, Dixon unable to find a target, unable to find a teammate to pass the ball to, so here she is, hanging on to the ball again. And this may not be the most exciting thing to watch, but it does highlight Stillwater's coverage and how complete it is. And we praise it in football if the quarterback has no one to pass to in what we call a coverage sack. You can't do that here in lacrosse, but the effect is the same. It's eating up a lot of time off the clock while Eden Dixon remains idle. You've had a couple of Roseville players call for the ball, but there's a Stillwater defender in the vicinity. Again, great coverage on the part of Stillwater. Nobody can get open. Not even for a short dump. You've seen a few Roseville players on the defensive side try to call for it, and Dixon thought about it and backs off. 4-2. This is really unusual, but again, it does illustrate the effectiveness of Stillwater's coverage defense here. And they're up. You know, they're leading 4-2, so if time runs off the clock, it won't bother them a bit. And Nina Dixon finally gets it off on a short dump to Ivy Benner, and there was some sarcastic applause, I think, with that one. But hey, Stillwater again, they're the team in front, 4-2. And this ain't the World Cup or Euro Cup or Champions League. You don't have to win by aggregate or goal differential. You just got to have more than your opponent, whether it's 4-2 or 24-22. Speaking of this situation, it reminds me about the shot clocks, and a motion to put in a shot clock in basketball was turned down. They'll have to wait again. It sounds like the state's moving closer and closer to it, but alas, we'll have to wait a little bit longer, even though bordering states in the Midwest have gone to it. But we don't have a shot clock in this sport. But Stillwater does get another turnover after a lengthy amount of time as they're up 4-2. Again, they don't need to mash the accelerator per se. And Stillwater, they'll swing it around the picket fence. Just running the cycle. There's Eliza Darby. And Annie Maguire will survey her options on offense. Centering pass to Enan. I think a Roseville defender got in there for a stick check, and that knocked Enan's shot off trajectory. But she does recover it, and the Ponies can continue running the clock here with a 4-2 lead. Winner moves on to White Bear Lake on Wednesday to play in the section final, where they will face the winner of Matamidi and Hill Murray. Enan unable to squeeze through a hole. So she'll circle behind the net. Had a look and was fouled. It's in the red penalty area. That's Suri Poschel. So Enan with effectively a penalty shot, and she converts. And that makes it a 5-2 game. Everyone knew who scored that one as the PA announcer was trying to confirm the number. We all got a good look. It was 7.
Scoring for Stillwater. Number 7.
And hot off the press from one of the Stillwater coaches or parents. All state team members, Meredith Perry, Sammy Chang, Grace Lilla, Lauren Eden, and Annie Maguire. And Meredith Perry, one of 15 Minnesota players to be named a U.S. Lacrosse All-American. So hot off the press from the girls lacrosse supporters, parents. Well, Alex is paying attention.
Good, how you doing?
So Meredith Perry, just named a U.S. Lacrosse All-American, and 5 got All-State recognitions. So congratulations to those players, and congratulations to Meredith Perry for winning an All-State award and a U.S. Lacrosse award. 4:27 left in the first half, and a reminder that if you want to support a TSB television broadcast, we'll be back in the fall with plenty of high school games around the metro, and who knows what else will come out of our sleeves. You've got a couple of options: patreon.com/TSB television and paypal.me/TSB television. Patreon if you'd like to make a monthly sponsorship, we have several options for you where you can earn a follow from me on social media, get your name in the credits, or even work your way up here to the booth to cover a game. And PayPal if you'd like to make a one-time contribution. We picked up a few supporters in our first full season, and we'd like to add a few more. So 5-2 is the score. And Stillwater may not be the most exciting first half they play, but they are methodically working their way toward another appearance in the section championship. Something they have done a lot over the last several years. Roseville tied it up on a couple of occasions, but the Ponies on a 3-0 run. And you could not ask for a more picture-perfect evening for section playoff lacrosse, and Wednesday promised to be just as gorgeous. And of course, the Stillwater baseball team will have a chance to reach another state tournament tomorrow. So Stillwater baseball will play in the section final at CHS Field tomorrow as they look to defend their state championship. As we come out of the timeout, Meredith Perry, one of 15 recipients of the U.S. Lacrosse All-American Award, and 5 Stillwater players, including Perry, Maguire, Chang, and Lilla, all state recipients for 2019. And folks are having fun up here in the press box. Well, except Alex. He is probably going through excruciating mental agony, having to put up with my commentary. Stillwater ball. Here's Tara Nagel, who has a couple of goals to her credit. Nagel. Now she's biding her time. Well, if Eden Dixon can do it, I guess everyone else can too. Well, it's a strategy that certainly has prevented Stillwater from racking up goals, but it's hard to stop all-state honorees like Annie Maguire, who picks up her first goal of the game as she worked her way through the middle.
Scoring for number 5, Annie Maguire.
Annie Maguire got off to a slow start as far as the goals are concerned this season. In her first 3 games, she had just 3 goals and failed to score in a 17-5 loss to Chanhassen, but then her production picked up. She had 4 straight hat tricks, Cretin-Durham Hall, Eastridge, Mounds View, and Forest Lake, scored 5 in a win over Apple Valley, scored 7, as we noted earlier, in the win over Roseville, 4 against Park of Cottage Grove in a wet and windy late May day, and 5 against Minnehaha, and 6, as we noted earlier. In the quarterfinal win over Irondale. So, Over the last 5 games, Meredith Perry has scored 26 goals. And she's really come on strong after a slow start to the season. Stillwater aiming to pad their lead here. They have a 6-2 advantage over Roseville, and as we said, a lot of times in section playoffs, the semifinal round is when the action gets tough because you have some solid players, some solid teams that get through that first round, but sometimes the one team plays like it. So when it comes to section competition, we have a yellow card issued to Grace Maddox. Propelling is the call. Lacrosse may be the only sport where propelling is an actual foul. So Maddox will have to head to the penalty box for 30 seconds. And it will be a woman advantage for the Raiders, but they're going to have to move the ball all the way downfield. And that won't happen because Jacqueline Colzer, number 29, swoops in to intercept the pass. So Stillwater will have an opportunity to execute a shorthanded play if they wish. But it appears Enan is in no hurry. Opponents are looking for a centering pass. Maguire put herself in position, but not enough space there. As we said earlier, in girls lacrosse, the red circle is the crease area. For the boys, it's the black. And that will be Maguire notching another assist. And Gracie Bancroft, I believe, gets credit for a shorthanded goal.
Hey, Todd. Share when you bring food.
Annie Maguire picks up her 3rd assist of the game. And Gracie Bancroft, the freshman midi, scores in a shorthanded situation. Gracie Bancroft picking up her 3rd goal of the year.
Gracie Bancroft with the assist to number 5, Annie Maguire.
And Annie Maguire picking up a few assists here. She wasn't known for that. Nobody for the girls really was, as far as someone who could dish and score the way Evanson and Nelson Summery can for the boys. But the Stillwater girls up 7-2 over Roseville, and that's what counts. And just like the first meeting, Lauren Distad has been relegated to an afterthought. Noggle trying to find a hole, cannot do so. Hangs on to the ball. That takes some crafty handling. This time she finds Maguire, and Maguire will now backpedal behind the net. Stillwater with plenty of time here, 25 seconds. Maguire tries the spin move. Instead, she goes for the pass up front, and Perry is fouled. That will stop the clock with 19.9, and Perry will get an effective penalty shot here. Not the player you want to give a free shot to. An All-American. Let's see what this All-American's got. Yep, she's an All-American, all right.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 8, Meredith Perry.
They don't call her an All-American for nothing. And just because this sport has popular roots in Canada doesn't mean the Americans don't have some athleticism of their own. Everyone having fun up here in the press box. And the Stillwater girls up 8-2 with 17.9 left. So it took a little while for the score to pick back up on the part of Stillwater, but a penalty shot by Maguire. Gracie Bancroft scoring in a playoff game. That's always cool for those backups, and Eden will be content to run out the clock here. And with the first half as dominant as Stillwater's, I would be too. 8-2 is our score as Stillwater looks well on their way to reaching the section final. Roseville has not scored in about 14 minutes of game time. And since then, the Ponies have scored a 6-0 run to go up 8-2. So we'll take a break and come back for the second half of the Section 4 Girls Lacrosse semifinal. Stillwater leads Roseville 8-2.
If you'd like to sponsor a TSP television broadcast, Patreon is the place. Sponsorships start at just $1 a month. Visit patreon.com/TSP television and make a pledge for premier Twin Cities sports coverage.
Mike Beaton here all by myself, talking to myself. Well, all right, Alex, I guess you count as a person. I hope you've enjoyed classic rock, because we have been serenaded with several classic rock tunes during halftime. Fleetwood Mac, Jackson Brown Eagles, a little more Fleetwood Mac. And Stillwater well on their way to another section championship appearance. And if they do hang on, Valley Access Channels will have live coverage on Wednesday. That game will be at 5 o'clock. And Alex, I guess we all can have a party afterward, because with the boys not in the section final, we all get to go home, or we'll have an evening to ourselves. So what do you say?
We should actually throw a party.
We should throw a party and put the drinks on Ted's tab, right? Where am I? Pony Stadium. 8-2 is our score. Meredith Perry, who I was just told is a U.S. Lacrosse High School All-American, one of 15 to get such a distinction across the country. She has 3 goals for her 12th hat trick of the season. Annie Maguire with 1 goal and 3 assists. Tara Noggle has a pair of goals. Gracie Bancroft and Lauren Enan have 1. Roseville has not scored in 14 minutes and 14 seconds of game time. Their last goal came at the 10:46 mark of the first half, and since then the Ponies went on a 6-0 run. And a quick reminder, if you want to support a TSP television broadcast, there are 2 ways for you to do so. Patreon.com/TSP television if you'd like to make a monthly sponsorship. We have several great options if you do, including the chance to get your name on the credits, the chance to have me follow you on social media. We're also working on a tier where I will not follow you on social media, much like Bob Euchre and the stories he would tell about sporting good companies paying him not to endorse their products. And PayPal if you'd like to make a one-time contribution. If you don't know what I'm talking about in regards to Bob Euchre, look up his Wikipedia page. It'll make sense. Roseville with the ball. Here's Lauren Distad. Again, tied for 4th in the state at the end of the regular season in goals scored with 60, but virtually unheard of in the first half. She has just 1 goal. A battle of 1 versus 4. The 2 and the 3 seed are facing off with Matamidi and Hill Murray. And here's Lauren Ermine. Her 1 hopper is short, but a foul is called. So a yellow card will be issued, and it will go against Lauren Ermine. Another propelling call. You want to know, every time I hear propelling in the sport, I know it's a foul, but My mind goes to the Super Mario games with the propeller hat that allows Mario to fly. This is what happens when you call games by yourself. It's Stillwater ball. Ermine in the penalty box for propelling on the follow-through. You will never hear that term in any other sport. You certainly don't hear it in basketball or football or... What more can I say? Foul was called on the Raiders, who are led by head coach Sonia Hoffman. She tried to find Maguire, tried to hook up with Bancroft on the centering pass, and instead the ball is loose, picked up by Noggle. And Rick Wright, the head coach of the Ponies. That's Grace Lilla working her way through defenders. And there's Meredith Perry slicing her way through and adding another goal to her total. So Perry, with her 4th goal of the game. She's put up a lot of games with 4 or more. As we said, 3 4-goal games to start the season, 4 of her first 5. She had 4 against Irondale, so Perry, she doesn't get hat tricks by the skin of her teeth. She racks up a lot of goals. Not enough to make it on the leaderboards, but not really necessary when you've got Annie Maguire to help out as well. Perry and Maguire, you're going to see them together for one more season. And speaking of seasons, I would venture to say that Stillwater's Annie Maguire has lasted much longer than a CBS sitcom of the same name that starred Mary Tyler Moore. You got to go back to 1988 to understand that reference. And I have to give props to Alex for remembering that. I had no idea that was a show, and I probably didn't have any idea because that show lasted for 2 months on CBS before it was canceled. Needless to say, it did not have the drawing power of the eponymously titled sitcom that Mary Tyler Moore was a part of for a few years, which led to a couple of spin-offs, Rhoda and The Lou Grant Show, and I'm going off on a lot of obscure ancient pop culture tangents here. Lainey Charlson with the stop on Distad. Lauren Distad, the sophomore. Jacqueline Colzer stays in bounds. Loose ball scooped up by Lilla. Maguire all alone. Goodbye. Well, no one will have to wait for confirmation on that one. It's 10-2 in favor of the Ponies. Annie Maguire, like we said, she's lasted longer than the CBS sitcom that ran for 2 months, and you can see why. Actually, a big point night for Annie Maguire. Unofficially, 3 assists, 2 goals, 5 points. And there's still time for her to add to those numbers. She had 6 goals and 2 assists in the win over Irondale. So if you're keeping track, unofficially, Maguire has 61 points in the season, and Perry has 72. And this is one of those matchups where 2 is better than 1. We mentioned Roseville's Lauren Distad, and all the time she racked up hat tricks. In fact, every team except for Stillwater, she scored 3 goals or more, but the Ponies bring a little more toughness to the table. Or should I say, to the stable. We got a push foul on the Raiders. This is how you entertain yourself when you're calling games solo and the Ponies are up 10-2 with 20:37 to go here. People watching this game are probably going to wonder what I drink beforehand. Propel, yes. Yes, that will be. We got a couple days. There we go. A case of Propel. Stillwater well in front. 8-time section champions. Looking to add a 9th. Nice move and a delayed shot by Maguire. I should say Perry goes off the crossbar. Roseville trying to scoop it up, and instead it's the Ponies who win the loose ball. That's number 13, Ellie Fedorowski. And this matchup, this outcome here, what we're seeing may not surprise a lot of folks compared to the boys' game, but on the way to the top, you got to beat the opponents you're expected to beat, and that's what Stillwater's doing. Roseville tied it up early in this one, and the Ponies have scored 8 unanswered. They hit the crossbar again. Meredith Perry has had 2 shots right in front of the net, and they've gone off the crossbar. If the score were a little tighter, it might be a bigger deal, but Stillwater, they've been in control of this one from the start. Sonia Hoffman, the head coach of the Raiders. A few years ago, if you're a diehard lacrosse fan, you may recall we did a story, I did one for my old show at Prep Spotlight because her husband coaches at Mounds View. So it wasn't uncommon for the 2 head coaches to, or husband and wife, to face off against each other. Father and son and mentor and protege, those are more common matchups, but it's something that I'm sure produces a few laughs at the Hoffman household. Foul on the Ponies, so a free shot for the Raiders, and Charleston hasn't had to do a lot of work tonight, but she swats that one away from Ivy Benner. Here's Libby Prenslow. Back to Distad. "17 minutes left in the second half. Ermine in some trouble. Goes back to Prenslow, and that's been the difference here. One of many. Roseville having trouble establishing themselves on set plays. Stillwater, not much trouble at all. That's going to be a foul on Stillwater's Terranagel. Distad lost control of it. And it will go to Roseville. Stillwater thought maybe a crease violation, but Lauren Distad will get An unobstructed view of the net. Lauren Distad, the team's leading scorer at Roseville, and tied for 4th in the state. So Roseville only needs 7 more to tie Stillwater. We've seen crazier things. So no matter what happens, even if Roseville's season comes to an end tonight, that's someone who can help build up the program. And speaking of building, there's a lot of it going on in Roseville. You may have seen the campus getting several additions to their building. In fact, it displaced the baseball and softball teams. They've had to play their home games at Northwestern. Roseville wins the faceoff. Charleston with the save. That was Kaya Viams, I should say, not Distad. So Distad still unheard of. Viams with her 2nd goal. Sometimes numbers all come together, but Viams making the most of the situation. But Distad having some difficulty. She only scored 2 times against the Ponies. And Kaya Viams, who converted that penalty shot, scored twice. But Distad's still someone Stillwater can use to build for the future. Ponies ball with a 10-3 lead. A trip to White Bear Lake likely awaiting the Ponies. Ponies running another cycle play here. That was a quick stick. And Eden Dixon with an attentive save. Perry wanted her 5th goal. She won't get it here. The talk of the town tonight may be the upset loss to Matamidi in the boys section semifinal. And here we go again with Eden Dixon. I have never seen someone as cautious as she is about passing the ball. And that might be why. She hands it off to Jacqueline Colzer. Dixon. What? If Jacqueline Colzer doesn't score here, it would be the craziest thing we've ever seen. I needed to get an explanation, so there was a foul on Dixon, and so she had to leave the net unattended. So Jacqueline Golzer scores on an empty net. I have no idea how that happened or what entailed. I've never seen anything like that. Could someone over there explain what happened?
There was shooting space, so the goalie had the person that caused the foul has to go behind. So if she was the goalie, she had to go behind because she caused the foul.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 29.
So,
Jacqueline
Eden Dixon
Golzer.
apparently fouled Colzer, and because she committed the foul, she had to clear the path. And because she's the goalie, it left an empty net open for Colzer. That is the strangest call I have ever seen in my short time covering lacrosse. But now you know, even the goalies can be hit with penalties. Here's Distad trying to get on the board against Stillwater, her nemesis in the first meeting. Goes to Carissa Viams, one of the seniors who picked up her diploma. Kyla Holt, Tori Peterson, and Ellie Prenslow and Ivy Benner are among the other Roseville athletes who got to walk across the stage. And for Stillwater, school's out, but they'll have another day of practice. So the likes of Sammy Chang, who will play at Lindenwood for lacrosse next season, Ellie Fedorowski, Tara Noggle, and Josie Jelinek. They picked up their diplomas. Their schoolwork is done at the high school ranks, but they'll get one more memory, at least one more opportunity to make some on Wednesday when they move on to the section final. Here's Kaya Viams. Foul was called on the Ponies. And another foul, so another chance for Kaya Viams, just outside that red penalty area. Kaya Viams with a couple of goals to her credit. Cashed in on a penalty shot earlier. Went off speed that time, and Charleston records the stop. Less than 10 minutes to go. Here's Maddox, weaving her way through traffic, and her shot goes wide left. Grace Maddox, a freshman. Stillwater's put in a few of them. There's a lot of youth on this Stillwater team. So even though the likes of Chang and Noggle won't be around next year, they'll have a solid returning foundation. Like Annie Maguire, she takes the feed from Bancroft. A delayed shot, but a goal nonetheless. Annie Maguire with the hat trick, and Gracie Bancroft picks up the assist. Stillwater up 12-3.
Scoring for the Ponies, number 5.
And for Annie Maguire,
with the assist to number 27.
that makes it
Bancroft.
6 straight hat tricks. Going back to the Apple Valley game, 6 straight hat tricks for Annie Maguire. Pretty impressive. Roseville calls a timeout.
Roseville takes
They had
the
2. The all-conference and all-section honorees were released, as well as the all-state and all-American selections A lot of Stillwater representation on those lists. So for Valley Access channels, we'll just have one team to cover, and a little less hassle, I guess, for all of us. We don't have to worry about covering 2 games. And we normally don't show this beforehand, but Kenzie Chang got to perform the Star Spangled Banner from up here in the press box. We thought about putting her on camera, but not really. But I see Kenzie Chang out in the audience.
You can grab her now. She's right there.
Yeah, we should grab her for a post-song interview. And there she goes. No, I mean, yeah. You know, we do a post-game interview where you analyze the game. We should do that more often after the Star Spangled Banner. Grab the singer and discuss, all right, so we talk about those notes that you tried to hit. Oh, my Lord. What am I doing with myself here?
Still better than Christina Aguilera's.
Still better than Christina Aguilera's, apparently. This is the kind of insightful analysis you can get if you support a TSB television broadcast on Patreon or PayPal. Patreon.com/TSB television or PayPal.me/TSB television. Let's take a quick look in Roseville's season. They'd been hovering around the 500 mark most of the year. Started the season with an 8-4 win over Eastridge. Picked up a 22-0 win over Waconia. They beat White Bear Lake 10-6 in the section quarterfinals, as we noted earlier. They played a close one with Park of Cottage Grove, lost that one 12-9. Another close loss with Cretin-Durham Hall, 12-10. Lost in a big way to Forest Lake and Matamidi. Played Hill Murray closely. So Roseville, they've had some solid performances and some close calls with higher level teams, but they've got some building to do in future seasons. And then they beat Minneapolis 21-0. So here are the all-conference honorees for the Suburban East. Lainey Charlson, Meredith Perry, Grace Lilla, Annie Maguire, Lauren Enan, and Tara Noggle. And the all-section honorees, Charlson, Perry, Lilla, Maguire, Enan, Noggle, Sammy Chang, Ellie Fedorowski, and Jackie Colzer, Caitlin Shanahan on the second team. So a lot of familiar names when you look at the all-state selections. It's not surprising that if you make all-state, you're going to be in the all-conference and all-section team as well, but that's going to be a lot of awards for the trophy cases of those individuals, especially Meredith Perry. And who knows, Annie Maguire might get an All-American consideration in future seasons, but those two will be fun to watch together next season, right here at Pony Stadium. Distad given a yellow card. With a 12-3 lead for Stillwater, it's inconsequential as far as the outcome of the game is concerned, but Distad will have to go to the penalty box for a short while. So what does Stillwater opt to do here? Maguire looked for a lane up the middle, didn't see one.
Seven.
Lauren Eden found one. Never doubt a player with the number 7. She's pretty lucky. Or in the case of Enan, she's also pretty good. Lauren Enan with her second goal of the game. And she had 13 goals, 6 assists in the regular season. And we have reached the mercy rule threshold. So we will be out of here in 7 minutes and 18 seconds. I don't know if you could hear this, but they're trying to sort out who scored the goal. Our camera op confirmed it was Lauren Eden. That's what I'm going with. So Lauren Eden with her second goal, at least by our count. And they have a chance to add another one.
Number 7, Lauren Iden with the assist to number 8.
And Meredith Perry will get the assist. That must have been what they were waiting on. Stillwater once more, and the audience, the Stillwater Parrots, they're sharing a few quips up here to the press box. Bob is saying, these guys are telling me what to say. No one's telling me what to say, but they probably should. Because if you don't give me a script, if I'm forced to ad-lib, dangerous things happen. Maguire tried the centering pass to, I think it was Eden. It doesn't go. Stillwater's up 13-3. They're going to move on to the section final. And that's going to be a push foul as they tried to force number 18 of the Raiders, Ali Granovsky, out of bounds. So Stillwater still playing at usual capacity, and we're going to have another yellow card, I believe. No, the official asked for time to stop, and I guess no yellow card. I officially have no idea what's going on anymore. Roseville on the run, trying to pick up another goal. Their season will come to an end. They'll finish at 8-7. Kaya VMs with a couple of goals. There's Sammy Chang going off to Lyndon Wood. One of the rare gymnastics lacrosse crossovers, and I talked to Rick Wright about that in the game with Creighton-Durham Hall, and he said, well, it's more natural for hockey and lacrosse to cross over because of reaction time and how the sport's played and instinct. He said the advantage of having someone like Sammy Chang cross over from gymnastics to lacrosse is her athleticism. And I got to see it firsthand in the winter when Stillwater reached the state tournament in gymnastics once more. They finished second in the team category. Sammy Chang, a terrific gymnast. So she may not have the reaction time of her teammates that play hockey, but I would dare any of those hockey players to try to stand a balance beam or tumble their way on the floor. No, she was a great athlete. And I got to talk to her over the winter about the friendship she developed with Ida Björklund, who was a foreign exchange student from Norway who wanted to get a taste of what life was like in a foreign country, and she got to do so and got to compete in gymnastics and be part of a silver medalist team before she returns to her homeland in Norway. Three and a half to go. We're in the mercy rule threshold. We're still trying to figure out how to pronounce Lauren Eden's name. Well, we'll get an opportunity here. I think Nago will get the dime from the pass from behind, and Eden, that's... If I'm correct, it's pronounced Eden. We'll all find out here in about a minute or so. But that's a hat trick for Lauren. That's the important thing. And the Stillwater starters will be serenaded as they are taken off the field. Enan. It's Enan. I thought it was Enan. It is Enan. Yes, that's what I've been saying.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 7.
While that was going on, again, the Stillwater starters, including Sammy Chang, the senior, and Maguire and Perry, being subbed out so they can get some salutation from the Stillwater parents and fans in attendance and what is the final visit to Pony Stadium for the girls, because Wednesday's game will be at White Bear Lake and the state tournament will be at Minnetonka and Chanhassen. So this is the last time the Ponies will get to play at Pony Stadium, and for folks like Chang and Fedorowski, it's the last time they will play at the school they've called home for 4 years. So even though the diplomas are in hand, we've got a few athletes hoping to make a few more memories. Softball already punched their ticket to state. Baseball hopes to do the same tomorrow, and girls lacrosse will try to make it 9 state tournament trips in a row on Wednesday. A runaway win for the Ponies. That may be unsurprising when you look at the matchup, but again, you got to beat the opponents you're expected to defeat when you're trying to reach your way to the state tournament pinnacle. Some of the players on the field for the Ponies include Britta Nelson, number 1, number 10, Anna Fisher, number 24, Josie Jelinek, one of the seniors who picked up her diploma, and Eliza Darby, number 4, is also out there. And some other players getting some time. Tori Lilligren, number 42. Number 23, Nora Bates, another gymnastics lacrosse crossover. Nora told me she tried to get, she and Sammy were trying to get Ida to join them at the lacrosse field. I'm guessing it didn't work. And Amelia Warner, I believe, number 17. Yep, she's out there as well. A wire-to-wire win for the Ponies. Their season will continue for at least one more game. Roseville season comes to an end. It's a final, 14-3. Stillwater is back to the section championship for another year.
Final score.
Lauren Distad held scoreless for the first time this season, so she will finish with 64 goals on the year, but she has a tremendous future ahead of her in the sport of lacrosse. I'm sure she'll have plenty of highlights coming her way in the seasons to come. Kaya Viems with a couple of goals for the Raiders. For the Ponies, Tara Noggle with a pair of goals, Lauren Enan with a hat trick, Annie Maguire with a hat trick, and Meredith Perry with 4 goals. And unofficially, Maguire finishes with 6 points. Perry with 5, and Gracie Bancroft picked up a couple of points as well. 1 goal, 1 assist. So if you're watching this on YouTube or on tape delay on Valley Access channels, we'll let you know that you can watch live coverage of the section final Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Valley Access channels will broadcast it live on YouTube and on TV. Stillwater will face the winner of Matamidi and Hill Murray. Again, 5 o'clock, White Bear Lake. Winner moves on to state for girls lacrosse. So that does it from here in our final broadcast at Pony Stadium. We won't see you until next fall when soccer, lacrosse, or lacrosse, soccer, volleyball, and football return. So for our final time at Pony Stadium, our final TSB television broadcast of the 2018-19 school year, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting us all school year long. Congratulations to the Stillwater Ponies, and props to the Roseville Raiders on a fine season. The Ponies defeat the Raiders 14-3 in the Section 4 girls lacrosse semifinal.